Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, brothers and sisters, I am Joker Rex, and this is my brother,
Howdy do.
Cowboy. We are here today on Video Game Revival, because we are here to hopefully revive and resurrect some of gaming's best forgotten gems, or maybe just some games that were made quite a bit and they really didn't do them any justice. So here we are, and today's service, we are going to start off with Shadowrun. Usually we have a couple. Yeah, usually we have a booklet. We have owned these games at one time. Shadowrun was for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and it was one of my favorite games as a kid. The actual battery in the save battery was bad in the game, so a lot of times it would delete its own saves, and I would blame my brother quite a bit until I found out the games had batteries, and that's how they saved back in the day. But even then, it was still one of my favorite games. I would pick it right back up, start it from the beginning, and play it right back to the point where I saved, and just keep going from there and hope every time I turned on, my game would still be saved and I could continue. And I beat the game I don't know how many times. You beat it a couple times too, huh?
Yeah, I beat it 5 or 6 times.
It's one of those games where it's kind of like Blade Runner mixed with a murder crime drama, but it's your murder. So it's got a really kind of aspect of
and it's got creatures in it too.
It's got creatures, yeah. It's got the Jester Spirit, which is really cool for a guy whose nickname is
Drake.
Joker. You know, Drake is a dragon, but also like the head of a corporation somehow. It's a very, very cool, very cool.
And there's orcs in the game.
We've got orcs. They call them deckers, right?
Troll deckers.
Troll deckers. They're
samurai.
There's so many classes. It reminds me of like what the new Cyberpunk game is gonna be, but it was not necessarily turn-based, but you would walk around and you would RPG style collect things and add them to your person as a body armor and guns. But when you got into a fight, it would almost be like a turn-based setup where it would cut off the screen, and then you would have to shoot your gun with certain buttons and then throw with certain other buttons. And did you get turns, or did you just have to keep going at each other?
No, I mean, you had the target, and it's like this.
Yeah, you would target, and then you just kind of held the button, right? You didn't have to wait, and yeah. But they were really fun games. There was kind of a detective aspect to it. There was one point you even go into a club that's full of vampires, and you dig up a vampire in the basement, and really crazy, really cool. There was different routes in the game to go, different names and different things to do, so that like if you messed up thing one time, it would lead you down a different path, and then maybe you might not get to do. You would have to start the game over to do that other path. It was one of the first branching path games I could remember. Okay, let's move on. I love Shadowrun. I could talk about it forever. I shouldn't have started with it first. Next, let's do a little. What do you think? You want to talk about some Final Fantasy?
Yeah, Mystic Quest.
Some Final Fantasy. Yes.
And Final Fantasy was a video game that everybody's been talking about for, let's say, how long?
Final Fantasy?
Years?
In general? Final Fantasy has been talked about literally probably since we were born. I never even played the first one for Nintendo, did you?
Yeah. Oh,
Did you? Play the first one for Nintendo?
That was in Japan.
Huh.
Well, I like to say here, folks, for the both of us here, my bro's been getting in, really playing this game for PlayStation 4 for a while, called Final Fantasy
World of
Final Fantasy. Yeah. Sorry. World of Final Fantasy, and I love to watch my brother play that game and stuff. It's fun though. It's got all the characters from almost every Final Fantasy game. But after these YouTube videos about people talking about Final Fantasy, they never mention anything about Mystic Quest.
It's one of those games that is kind of forgotten. People love Final Fantasy 15 and they want to get the new iteration and the Royal Edition, And then people don't even mention 4 as far as I'm considered, which was America's Final Fantasy II for the Super Nintendo. Mystic Quest, we don't have a booklet, do we? We used to have the booklet, and we have a map, I believe, somewhere in my room hidden. And it was a nice sized little map, an actual map of the world, but you couldn't actually follow the map. It was a great game. It was turn-based, and you could see the characters, and they would kind of pop up every time they did their attack or magic, and then you would see the animation kind of play out. If it was a sword, you would see the sword slash. If it was a shuriken, you would see the shuriken throw. Pop, 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 pop. It was the sounds were great.
Yeah, and every time you hit the enemies, they take like either 2 hits or so, and then they're dead. Sometimes.
Well, I think that all borders on how strong your characters are. You could get pretty overpowered there towards the end. You could have 2 guys in your, what was it, 2-guy party? 2-people party?
2-guy party.
Yeah, so there was no 4-man party, 6-man party. There was only that very few, and you had to, so your guys had to have 4,000, 5,000 hit points just to beat a game. It was a great game. It was unlike the other Final Fantasies. It had a great character set up. It, all the bad guys were mythical creatures, weren't they? Instead of actual made-up characters. And then
I just got home from the dentist. My stitches out.
good deal.
Good.
And I don't know. Was there anything you want to add on that one?
Well, I like to say is the elemental monsters in the game I like Flame Resurrect, the Ice Golem, and Twin-Headed Wyvern, and Pazuzu.
That's right. In the game, yeah, the actual elements are not Shiva and Ifrit and all that. Like,
or
everybody knows.
Balbalis or King.
Yeah, or Maduin
or
or all
Lich or
those
anything.
guys. Yeah, all the Espers everybody knows are not present in Mystic Quest. They're all ancient creatures. Pazuzu is like Pazuzu is kind of like a bird or something. Isn't it?
Yeah, he's like a bird instead, like the demon or devil.
And it's like the wind power instead of arrow. Yeah, but okay.
Flame Resurrect is like the
These
skull.
games are, I can't believe we've got to do a short video on this. Next, my friend. What should we do? I think probably one of my brother's favorite games, right? Is,
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening, man. We got this one here. We got one over there too, huh? Yeah. We got The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. And we got Link's Awakening DX over there, which was the color version, correct?
Yes, with the color dungeon.
With the color dungeons, there was an add-on dungeon, right?
Yeah.
And there was also added-on animes. It's funny because the books, they tried to kind of match up the books too.
You want to show them the anime?
They kind of matched up with, who was that, Marin?
Marin, yeah.
Marin at the beach with Link there, and if nobody has ever played this game, or if any of you guys have never played this game, you've missed out on Zelda. If you think Breath of the Wild is where it's at, you've lost your mind. This is one of the best Zelda games ever, and the fact that it is not given a remake, or we did not see anything about it at E3 makes me very angry, and if we don't see anything soon, I'm going to just play the old one again. Let's get off that topic. Let's move on to Contra. Contra, ladies and gentlemen. The good old shoot 'em up. Where all good platforms come.
Was that good?
And we're all hope they can be. That was great, man. That was Contra in a nutshell. I mean, that's where Metal Slug came from, Contra, if you really want to, Konami made it, surprisingly. My favorite were the Nintendo ones. I love Alien Wars, I do, but my favorite were the Nintendo ones. They remind me a lot of, if anybody's played Axiom Verge. Axiom Verge took a lot from Contra and added it into their Metroidvania style. But Contra was a side-scrolling platform, 2D, that it was just shoot 'em up. You would collect certain weapons, one-hit kills on your guy. That was a pain, but you'd learn to love it. It's one of those games where you can just pick up, play, and put down, and not feel bad about turning it off. We don't have those anymore. You always gotta save and worry about saving. That's a problem with fun nowadays. Alright, let's move on. Let's go to Ghosts and Goblins and the Ghouls and the Ghosts. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not know how to talk about this one enough. Ghouls and Ghosts is one of those things where you
But let's give it a little start.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think you're gonna probably have to do the music for that one because that's one of those ones that I don't have it queued up at all, and I think I only have a minute ringtone for it. Yeah, it came out as what, Ghosts and Goblins for the NES, right? Then
Yes,
it came
NES.
out as Super Ghouls and Ghosts for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, and it's also came for Sega.
Sega also?
Yeah, it's all called Ghouls and Ghosts, and then the Super one's called Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Okay, cool. Cool. I do not know if I played the Sega one. And then this is the Game Boy Advance version.
Yeah.
That was basically the Super Nintendo game, right?
Yeah, remastered with extra boards in it.
Extra boards and content. Is that the one where you could keep your armors and stuff like that too? Couldn't you save an armor in a slot? No, that was...
That was in the PS Ultimate Super Ghouls and Ghosts for the PSP.
See, so we've only been getting remasters. We actually haven't gotten a full, honest remake, which that game deserves. Big time. That Ghouls and Ghosts, Ghosts and Goblins, I don't care which one you do, Capcom, get on the train and do it. Some damn justice, man. Please. 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 Alright, talk about Kid Dracula real quick. Kid Dracula was a game where they believe on the internet that Kid Dracula is Alucard. It was a side-scrolling platform game, and you fight Dracula at the end, much like Castlevania.
Garamuth, they believe, and also the villain Garamuth was believed to be Galamuth.
I think we're just gonna have to do like a whole separate video on this in a Castlevania series. Yeah. Turtles Tournament Fighters and Turtles the Manhattan Project, which would be Turtles 3, and Turtles 2, which were side-scrolling action games. Very, very fun. Kind of like arcade drop-in, drop-outs. You know, if you died, you could stop, and the other player could just keep playing. Very great games. Forgotten after Turtles in Time and the PS3 port of Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
Totally forgotten. I don't know why.
Which was Turtles 4
It's
also.
a crime. They were forgotten. They could be making a ton of money. Whoever bought Turtles, make the side-scrollers. They make you a ton of money. Turtles Tournament Fighters, and now that fighting games are insanely huge, Turtles Tournament Fighters should come back. It was one of the best fighting games ever. We still have it for Super Nintendo, and I'm probably going to play it soon. Lost Vikings. Lost Vikings. Man, I love Lost Vikings. I can't get enough of Lost Vikings. Every time I turn it on, I just can't stop, and I end up, like, I keep a Game Boy next to the toilet. I know it's TMI, but, your butt can go numb playing something like that. Let me just tell you that right now.
Lost Vikings.
They have the port for the Advance, which is what, Cowboy's holding right now. And it's a good one. It's the same game from Super Nintendo. But, we need an updated graphics version. We definitely need that. And there was a second one that I never even knew about. That's how much I love it. So, they just need to put them both on the same disc and just let us have them, yeah. Okay, next one is Punch-Out, which I'm almost absolutely sure that Punch-Out, yeah, that's Little Mac here, gives it to you. This is all we have left of the Punch-Out booklet for the NES. No, this is the NES one.
And we got it for Wii.
Did we have it for Wii? Yes, and I think they're remaking it for Switch. I heard, and I heard it's gonna be different though. It's not gonna. It's gonna be different. That's all I'm hearing, and but I'm hyped for it. So I guess they are remaking it. So thank you, Nintendo. Big Nose and Joe and Mac. Big Nose the Caveman and Joe and Mac.
Which they call in Japan, Caveman Ninja.
Caveman Ninja.
Yeah, because you know when Joe and Mac, when you jump. And they
okay, they got the little ninja jumps, and they got the, like, throwing shuriken, but they're bones. Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha. See, man, you can learn something new every day, folks.
Actually,
Here,
I learned that because I watched videos on YouTube a long while back.
Yeah, that always helps, too. That's why we're here, right? Yeah. So
Big Nose the Caveman is this side-scrolling game where you just...
NES.
For NES, you walk sideways, you fight dinosaurs, you have to actually go close to them to hit him with your club and stuff, but you gotta be careful because you can, one hit, you're dead.
Yeah, the hitbox it's kind of like for, what was that, the Junior, Chuck Rock? Chuck Rock 2, the Son of Chuck. It was almost the same thing, the hitbox for the for the club was very small, so you had to get very close to an enemy, and if you missed, you were hit.
Same thing. What about Chuck Rock 1?
Chuck Rock 1 was ridiculous. We're not here to talk about Chuck Rock. We're here to talk about Big Nose and
Big Nose and Joe and Mac.
Big Nose and Joe and Mac. Joe and Mac was one of my favorites. I'm surprised we don't have the book for SNES. We still have the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And we also
Very good side-scrolling platform game, a lot like Tomba, which came out for the first PlayStation, but Joe and Mac was better. And last but definitely not least, ladies and gentlemen, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Man, if you don't know anything about this game, you really haven't been paying attention to games. This was one of the first games, probably the first, that I ever had to pull my ID out for when I was 17, because it has a mature rating. And it was one of the games that they actually got really crazy over because of the profanity and just dumb stuff that was put in for laughs. And they got mad. People got mad. And yeah, they actually slid my ID and checked my ID and looked at the computer and made sure that my birth date added up to 17. And the game was like $64. They added on an extra like $4 to the game.
$64? That sounds
for a
expensive.
Nintendo 64 game. You paid for every bit of that game, literally. $64 for a Nintendo 64 game. I mean, they were already like $59 anyway back in the day, but or something like that. But it was fun. I mean, literally everything about it was trudging around in poop and talking crap to everybody, and everything that came to you, like, just cursed at you insanely.
Women with big boobs.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a great game. Everything about it was insane. Everything about it made you want to hysterically
Beer
laugh.
drinking.
It was crazy. It was a crazy game, But that's how much I love it. Like, if I sat here, I'd have to sit here for an hour and write down intricate details. It's so insane that you just gotta play it and experience it to realize what you're going through. It's got that Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64 run around the world style play.
Yep.
And it's just really weird. You gotta play it. Conker's Bad Fur Day. Remake that sucker, man. Right after Spyro Reignited, we need Conker's Bad Fur Day, guys. Well, folks, that is it today for the revival. I am your sermon host, Joker Rex. This is my deacon, Brother Cowboy. And from both of us, we say, good night.